This week, we have a special episode of Dateline Abuja, an update of the work done to keep the FCT safe by the Federal Capital Territory Authority's Command and Control Center. And we'll get into that after we update you on the major stories from Nigeria's presidency. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. Let's get you that update. Here are the major stories this week from Nigeria's presidency.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed Abuja for the United States to attend the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Vice President to lead the Nigerian delegation to the high-level global forum, where he will be focusing on addressing pressing domestic issues, including the recent devastating flood disaster. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President Stanley Wocha, says during the session, Vice President Shettima will deliver Nigeria's national statement, participate in key meetings on the sidelines of the event, and engage in bilateral meetings. Nigeria has emphasized its repeated call for the reform of the United Nations Security Council to give just representation to Africa on a permanent basis to deepen global peace and security. This is part of the positions put forward by the Minister of Defense, Mr. Abubakar Badaru, during his presentation at the Interactive Dialogue on Enhancing Multilateralism for International Peace and Security, on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, USA.
From 1960 in Congo, we have been in 41 different United Nations missions to provide security across the world. Based on that background and the effort of Africa, we also call on the United Nations to reform the United Nations Security Council so that Africa can have a permanent seat. It is time, we deserve it for justice and for equity and for inclusiveness.
Nigeria's efforts towards strengthening mortgage refinancing and women empowerment has received the support of the United States Chamber of Commerce with a commitment of about $320 million. At a U.S.-Nigeria Executive Business Roundtable on the sidelines of the 79th UN General Assembly, hosted by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Nisha Biswal of the American International Development Finance Corporation also announced it was investing $200 million in mortgage refinancing in Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu has called on African nations to adopt a new agenda that prioritizes adding value to her raw materials to industrialize the continent and provide sustainable economic growth. This was put forward by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the African Mineral Strategy Group meeting on the sidelines of the ongoing 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States.
It is evident that Africa is desirous of shaking up the toga of requests for aid and grants, a situation in which the raw materials are extracted from our countries, exported, refined, and sold to us as finished products at higher prices, merely consolidates the foundations of our military and pushes us further down the depths of underdevelopment. We seek to break free by localizing the whole mineral resource value chain, from extraction to processing, and then to sales within our countries. We have skilled men and women.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan is advocating for peaceful political practices in Nigerians' efforts at good governance. He stated this during a stakeholders dialogue in Abuja to commemorate the International Day of Peace.
As a country, if we don't change, we politicians don't change our political behavior and embrace that culture that was embedded in us, that it will look as if it's a part of our genetic makeup, one day this country will then go into a conflagration that nobody can control. So we, the politicians, must know that what we do wrongly is wrong. And when we politicians justify evil things and say it is politics, somebody does something that is evil, say it's politics. It's not politics, you're a criminal.
President Bola Tinubu has approved the rehabilitation of the former Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to serve as a newly proposed building for the Ministry of Livestock Development. The FCT Minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, made this revelation during an inspection tour around the nation's capital.
I hear there is a sharing formula which is not acceptable today for the first instance. The international markets of standard, and there are a lot of problems. There was encroachment, and I've directed the government control to immediately demolish anything that is going to cause us an impediment.
President Bola Tinubu has expressed a desire to reshuffle his cabinet. That's according to the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, while briefing State House correspondents on some national issues at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Mr. Onanuga, however, says the President is yet to give a timeline when the reshuffling will take place.
The President actually gave an order to all his ministers to go out there to speak about the activities of his government. Some of them have been media shy, TV shy, radio shy, and he wants them to really overcome all that and go out there, speak about what they have been doing the past year. Because as he said, the feeling outside there are some people feel the government is not doing anything, and government have been doing a lot. And he believes that it is up to them to go out there and blow their trumpets. So cabinet reshuffle, let me tell you, I don't have any timeline. The president has expressed his desire to reshuffle his cabinet, and he will do it. I don't know whether he wants to do it before October 1, but he will surely do it.
Welcome back. My guest on the program is the Secretary, FCTA Command and Control Center, Mr. Peter Olumuji. This week, we take a look at the FCT Minister's recent activities aimed at boosting security and improving infrastructure. We also look at the Command and Control Center since inception and what progress they've made in the nation's capital in terms of security. Dr. Peter Olumuji, welcome again to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you for having me again.
I know that there's a lot of things going on with the command center right now. I know you're supposed to be at the abattoir right now to check up that place. And then, of course, there's the livestock ministry that's supposed to start off, and they're rehabilitating the Ministry of Agriculture to get that started. Talk to us a bit about some of the recent events being covered, being done right now by the FCT Command Center.
Yes, since the inauguration of the present minister of the federal capital, which we popularly call Mr. Project, you should know that FCT have taken a new dimension. It is work, one project to the other. And the focus of all these projects is to better the life and well-being of the residents of the FCT, which we can all attest to in the Federal Capital Territory. Presently, for the past few weeks, we've been up and doing in the Command and Control Center, ensuring that places that have shanties and illegal structures that could be safe haven to criminal elements are effectively removed. And all this have been in partnership with the major departments of the Federal Capital Territory, in conjunction with the FCT Police Command and other sister agencies. So by and large, the focus is just to ensure that FCT is safe and that everyone coming into the FCT can see a city that is of their dream. And that is the focus.
So let's talk about the abattoir.
Yes.
Apart from the corrupt practices that we know that happen with the burning of meat, because we've been there, seeing that people are still using tires to burn the meat that we consume here in the FCT. Apart from that, you're stating, at least your office has been stating, that there are criminal elements around that area. What's the command center doing about that, about both situations?
Yes, part of what the FCT minister have given instruction is that every form of nuisances within the abattoir should be taken care of, should be removed, because, we have issues of drug-related trading and illicit drug trading and usage by people there. You also have the unhealthy sanitary environment in which the abattoir is presently located. And it's the concern of the FCT administration that whatever is coming out from the abattoir should be healthy meat for those who are going to be the end users. And that's why the minister have set up a committee, a ministerial committee, having other relevant security agencies to be on board, so that we've gone there. We've gone to assess the place.
Did you see people burning meat with
Yes, that is part of what was witnessed.
So, a lot of people try to blame the situation in the country for everything that they do. What are you going to be telling those people at the abattoir to do differently?
Yes, there's a stakeholders meeting that have been scheduled, because, you have to also talk to them for them to understand how to do things better. You have the public health officers who are always there. You have the director veterinary, who is part of the team, and representative of the secretary of health and human services of the FCTA. So all this is to educate them and to let them know that if we continue like this, it can bring about the breakout of diseases that will really affect. We're talking, if you look at statistics around the state, they are talking about cholera and the rest. And we don't want that to be the portion in the FCT. And you also know that once you don't have this public health do not inspect the meat properly, issues of hepatitis B can even come in. And you go buy the meat, you don't know it is contaminated. And when you take it in, the person is infected already. So the ministerial committee is going to be doing a holistic review of what transpires within the abattoir to bring it up to standard that it should be.
There are other areas that the command is looking at. We've talked a little bit about the Ministry of Agriculture that is going to be turned into the livestock ministry, and I know that's one of the places that you're going to. But I want to be able to focus really on areas in the FCT that many people called ungoverned spaces, places like the bushes. Those bushes near the Federal Secretariat area, we've talked about that before, and you said a lot of, cleanup was going to happen in these areas, underneath the bridges in the Central Business District, the shanties that are located in Area 1, for instance, the IDP camps that are not very governed, especially in that Area 1 side of the nation's capital, and the many shanties that we have to deal with. We saw the demolitions of those shanties. They are all back. What's the plan?
Yes, the removal of these shanties and illegal structures has been a continuous one, but again, one of the major challenges that the administration have been having are people who own this piece of land and refuse to develop it. We remember at the inception of the administration of the Minister of FCT, he talked about those who refused to develop their land, that it would be revoked. We knew how people started to shout and cry, and giving them time to do it. But again, some people have still refused to do that. Because once you are able to develop your piece of land, I can tell you without missing word that these shanties and illegal structures will not have anywhere to spring up. Because most of these places you have them that we are continuously removing are on people's plot of land that ought to come and develop their plot of land. And again, when you talk about acts of criminalities and where these criminal elements can hibernate, it is still the same places you will find them. So if we are saying the government is not doing much on security, then what have we done on our own parts?
We do have to go on a short break right now, but when we come back, we're going to be talking more about one of the other issues that the FCT residents are very worried about, which is petty crime. That is something that we're still having to deal with. So please stay with us on Dateline Abuja. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Dateline Abuja. If you've just joined us, we've been speaking with the Secretary of the FCT Security Command Center, Dr. Peter Olumuji. Thank you so much again for being with us. Yeah. Now, we're talking about petty crime and criminality in the nation's capital. Bag snatching, generator theft. You can't really walk around in some areas because some places are still very poorly lit in the nation's capital. Yes, we've seen some improvements. At least when we complained about the Moshood Abiola Stadium area, we saw that the lights came up in that area, which is good. But there's still many areas that are poorly lit. And we see that in those places, bag snatching, you can't go for a walk in many of the parts of the city center. What's being done about that situation? And what's the update on the command center's work in combating petty crime and criminality in Abuja?
Yes, when you talk about petty crimes, it's something that you find all over the world, even in developed nations. But that does not mean that we should allow it to start to become a source of worry to the residents of the FCT. You should know also that the Command and Control Center is a unit under the Security Services Department headed by Alhaji Gwari Adamu, fellow of the Defense College, and is always in ensuring that when we get report of trends and this trend of whenever a location is being flagged that you have this constant trend and pattern of petty crimes, is always ensuring that the command center goes into it and all relevant security agencies are updated, And part of what you can see, which every resident of FCT will witness presently, is that there's this solar panel light that is being installed again. And the minister just came back from China with Mr. President, and he signed this memorandum with some Chinese company to ensuring that they lit up the FCT and even the rural areas. Because crime do not fester when there's proper illumination, especially in the night. Because every criminal is afraid of he or she being seen. And when there's better illumination in the night, then you see that naturally such art disappears. But what again we have realized is that some people are being attacked and they also refuse to let the law enforcement know what has happened. It's not just going to the social media to raise issues that you have been attacked. The first question I ask whenever somebody calls me to tell me, so a neighbor was attacked or somebody they know was attacked, I will now ask, have you made an official complaint to the nearest police post? Do you know why it's essential for the residents to do that? Because, for example, if they snatch your phone, if they pick your bag, you have vital documents. And a crime might be committed in another location within the FCT. If the police start the investigation and pick up those items, those IDs, or your phone is being used by a criminal element, naturally, you'll be called in for investigation. And that is why it's always advisable that whenever you experience such, it's good for you to make an official complaint to the nearest police post, let them incident it. Secondly, because we have the city center now being lit and even the rural areas going to experiencing it too, the FCT administration have encouraged the community police initiative. So everybody is part of the policing system. It's not just leaving it to the law enforcement agent. If you see something, you're expected to say something. And that is what the community policing system entails. It's not that you want to blame a party where you have your own role to play. The Western world we talked about, we refer to that. Most of us quickly refer to when issues happen. They will never tell you that in those Western world, when they see something, they say something. But here, when we see something, instead of you saying something to the authority, we go to the social media. And there's no way social media can solve your problem.
Yeah, but it helps you see what's going on.
It helps you.
My thing is, why is it so? Why do security agencies get so upset when they see people talk on social media?
No.
It helps in the sense. Let me explain. In the sense that that's also saying something. The person has said it on social media instead of being irked by what someone has put up on social media. Why don't you just take that and say, "Oh, we've seen your You can actually use it to your benefit as security agencies. Tell this person who's done this video, we've seen your complaint.
Good.
We're going to be looking into it. Would you be willing to come? Let us work together on it.
Now you're
as opposed to saying, why are you going on social media?
Let me tell you something. Social media in the security circle, especially when it comes to intelligence, we call it open source. You get things from social media platform and you work with it. But again, when you post something on social media and the law enforcement agent have invited you to come and substantiate, do you know most of them don't want to go and substantiate?
Then you go on social media as well and say, look, madam, we've called your Oga. We said, come and help us with this investigation. And you said no.
But you know.
Because the person has done it on social media. And so you use the same medium. Not because you're being petty.
Good,
but it's not about being petty.
It's about
balancing it.
Yes, it's about balancing it.
So why don't you just say, look, we've called you in and you refuse to come in. So what do you want us to do about the situation?
No, that is why we are using this platform now to talk to the good residents of the FCT that when you post something on the social media, also take another step by making an official complaint to the law enforcement agencies. While FCT has experienced the peace you are seeing today, is because more of the residents now make do with the hotline of the police and even the FCT call center in reporting incidences they come that they see or they are involved in. And that has really helped in curbing crime. But again, we still talk to one or two that still feel that, we're going to the police station to make official report that they believe the police will arrest them or detain them. No.
It's a lack of trust, isn't
yes,
it?
they should be able to trust the policing system of the FCT right now, because a lot have been done. And we, as members of the community, we also must play our own role.
So there are two more questions I have before we wrap up this interview.
Yes.
I know it's never enough time to talk with you, Dr. Peter. Yes. I'll start off with something that we heard from the NSCDC and the FCT Police Command. It's a case where a lady was found in a hotel room. I think you know about the situation.
Yes, I do.
Found in a hotel room tied up, and according to the report, she was about to be used for ritual. The NSCDC officials had done the arrest and handed her over to the police. Police have accepted that they've started. They arrested the boy, rather, who was trying to engage in this criminal act. And, the police command say that they are moving on with the investigations on that matter. Talk to us about how the center is going to help, with more enlightenment to young women on these sorts of issues.
What we want to advise our young guys and ladies is that, you must be very careful. It's not everything that glitters that is gold. Don't allow the pleasure of materialism to engulf you. There are work you can also do that will keep you safe. We all knew what transpired between the girl and how they picked her up and the rest. But there are also decent work that we can also go into. And even such guys that go into such things, there are better work you can still do out there. But again, let us be very, very careful who we relate with, especially when it comes to hookup issues and the rest. We must be very, very careful.
I want to thank you very much, Dr. Peter Olumuji, for being with us on Dateline Abuja.
Thank you.
And we'll be putting up those numbers again.
Very, very
for people
important.
to call.
Very, and also let our people know that when you are saving emergency number, save it on the emergency keypad of your phone. Don't save it like the normal number. So when your phone is even locked, if one is police control number, once one presses one, it pops up there, and you're able to dial it.
Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. These are the FCT Command Center phone numbers. Please have them on your phone. And as Dr. Olumuji said, if you see something, please say something. Remember to give us updates on the major happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handle showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I am Kayla Magwa. See you next time.